All right, let's get right into it. The date to keep in your head is March 17th, 2026. Now, this isn't some far-off forecast. Think of this as a critical situation brief. The Great Lakes waste war is already here. You got new federal tariffs, you've got staggering cross-border fee hikes, and just like that, Ontario's go-to solution of just sending its waste away has completely vanished. This isn't just about trash collection, it's about a critical supply chain that's about to buckle.
So the problem we're all facing is a system that is right on the absolute brink of collapse. For decades, the easy answer for Ontario's industrial, commercial, and institutional waste has always been just ship it somewhere else. But all that convenience, it's created a massive vulnerability. And that old way of doing business is now officially, fundamentally broken.
And this is what really shows you it's not some vague, distant problem. We have hard deadlines. Look at this timeline. In 2026, municipalities are just out of the commercial waste game. By 2029, a landfill ban on clean wood actually kicks in. And then, by 2034, we hit the wall. Absolute capacity exhaustion. The clock is ticking, and there's no way to add more time.
To really get a sense of the scale of this dependency, just look at this one number, 3.46 million. That is how many tons of waste Ontario ships across the border to Michigan every single year. It's a massive economic vulnerability that's just been hiding in plain sight for way too long.
And here's the impact of that number. Ontario's waste isn't just some drop in the bucket over there. It accounts for 14.35% of all the material currently sitting in Michigan's landfills. We're not just a customer at that point. We are a massive piece of their infrastructure, which you can imagine puts us in an incredibly fragile position.
So here's the critical point. That huge macro problem of disappearing landfill space, it's no longer abstract. It's now a direct hit to the bottom line of pretty much every business in Ontario. What used to be cheap and easy is now expensive, it's risky, and in some cases, it's about to be straight up illegal.
And the pressure keeps building. There are two key regulations that are changing the entire game. First up, you have the CORCs levy. It's designed to curb industrial waste, and it's projected to slap a $60 per ton tax on anything that gets landfilled. And second, there's the Rewood Initiative, which is a provincial program that's going to outright ban clean, untreated wood from even entering a landfill. The walls are definitely closing in.
Okay, so we've laid out the problem. Let's pivot to the solution. This is where 905 Wood enters the picture, but we have to completely stop thinking of them as a traditional waste company. This is an entirely new category of technology. It's what they call the digital refinery, a kind of sentient bridge from the old world to the new one.
This really reframes the whole conversation, doesn't it? I mean, sure, they both started in a very specific place, but the ambition, the tech, the entire operational model is just on a completely different planet. We're not talking about hauling trash anymore. We're talking about refining a chaotic input into a very high-value output.
So what in the world is a digital refinery? Well, think of it as a system that uses a combination of smart software and physical hardware, all working together to bring order to these chaotic waste streams. It doesn't just move wood, it transforms that wood into two totally distinct products: high-purity feedstock for the bioeconomy and, just as important, verifiable data.
Okay, let's get into the tech now. How do you actually do this? How do you take something as messy and unpredictable as a demolition site and turn it into a reliable, predictable stream of data? Well, it all starts at the very edge of the operation, out in the mud, with a piece of hardware you'd probably never expect.
This is just fascinating. The core of their entire Edge operation isn't some custom-built million-dollar scanner, it's a Google Pixel 10 Pro. But it's not being used as a phone, it's being used as an industrial inference server. Thanks to that Tensor G5 chip inside, it can run these complex AI models completely offline, making a clean versus treated wood classification in under 2 seconds. And its thermal stability is so good, it can do this for a full 8-hour shift without even breaking a sweat.
And this is always the most important question for any real-world AI system, right? What happens when reality gets messy? A model that's trained on clean, dry wood in July might be totally lost when it's looking at wet, gray, weathered wood in the middle of November. So, how do they solve for this data drift?
They solve it with this brilliant workflow. See, the AI doesn't just spit out a yes or no answer. It gives a confidence score, and if that score drops below a certain point, maybe because of bad weather or weird-looking material, it automatically flags the scan. A human expert then reviews the image and makes the final call. And here's the magic part. That human correction gets fed right back into the system, making the AI smarter for the next time. It's a constantly self-improving loop. So that visual AI at the edge can handle the initial sort. That's great. But for regulatory compliance and for absolute safety, you have to go deeper. You have to be able to see things that are completely invisible to a standard camera. You have to be able to see the chemistry.
This line right here is so important. A piece of wood might look perfectly clean to your eye, but if it's been pressure-treated with chemicals, sending it to a biocarbon reactor could cause a terminal failure of the equipment. Visual inspection alone is a massive, massive liability.
And this is how they manage that risk. The system has two tiers of intelligence. You've got Edge Triage, which is powered by the Pixel phone. That handles about 90% of the volume, all the fast, obvious classifications out in the field. But that tricky 10%, the high-risk or ambiguous loads, they get automatically routed to a central hub for what they call core truth verification.
And at that central hub, they bring in the heavy-duty scientific sensors. We're talking about things like X-ray fluorescence or XRF, which can detect the precise elemental signature of heavy metals like arsenic, chromium, and copper. They fuse that data with near-infrared sensors, or NIR, which go beyond sight to identify the unique chemical fingerprints of treatments. It ensures absolutely nothing hazardous gets through.
Okay, so we've seen the problem, we've seen the tech. But let's get to the so what question. How does all of this incredible engineering actually make or save money for a business? Well, this is where the system flips from being a cost center to a value creation engine.
Think about a legacy invoice. It's just a bundled black box price, right? You have no idea what you're really paying for. Now, look at the 905 Wood decoupled invoice. Notice how that circle levy is its own separate line item. If your wood is verified as clean, that $60 a ton charge, it just disappears. This provides a direct, powerful financial incentive to do things right at the source.
And this new, transparent data creates a whole new value chain. It starts with avoiding that massive levy. But then, the verified clean wood gets used to produce biocarbon, which then generates valuable carbon dioxide removal certificates, or CORCs. And finally, the whole process is documented in a digital product passport, giving companies verifiable Scope 3 emissions reporting for their sustainability goals.
So here it is, the big takeaway. For industrial, commercial, and institutional clients, this system takes something that was a pure liability, just a cost on the balance sheet, and it transforms it into a documented, verifiable environmental asset that has real, tangible value on the market. So, let's bring this all together. What does this all mean for the future? Well, this is about way more than just better recycling. This is about securing your operational independence in a world where all the old, easy ways out are gone for good.
You know, when municipal collection for businesses ends in 2026, thousands of companies are going to be cut off. They'll basically become waste orphans in a private market that is completely unprepared for this shift. This quote serves as a really stark warning. You can't wait for the crisis to hit. You have to have a plan right now.
In the end, the choice is pretty clear. The future is going to require you to secure your physical waste infrastructure, secure the data that proves its value, and by doing those two things, secure your operational sovereignty. The digital refinery isn't just a better way to handle waste. It is the bridge to a much more resilient and profitable future.